That building, it's all lit up every night. Is that a factory?
No, it's a school.
What kind of school is open at 9:20 at night?
可能是一个高中吧。
The kids are still there?
对。
Oh my.
自习。
Oh my God! In high school, my high school ended at 2:20 p.m. We went home.
2点多吗？
Yeah, we said we go from 7:30 a.m. to 2:20. Elementary school, 小学 is 3:30 to, or sorry, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Home. When do they go home? 10?
应该可能是9点半，我也不知道。
When do they sleep? When do they?
就10
Do they?
点多。
Oh my, that's awful. What a tienda. That's crazy. Here, I've been teaching here so long, I had no idea normal schools were like this. Oh my God.
Welcome to Red Eastern True Crime. If you're a fan of gripping true crime stories, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Today, we're diving into a different kind of tale that reveals the intense pressures of academic life in China. Let's get into it. This is the famous Hengshui High School timetable that has been making waves online. Located in Hengshui, Hebei Province, China, this semi-military boarding high school is known for its rigorous schedule. With over 6,000 students and more than 600 teachers, Hengshui High School is divided into 3 grades and repeat classes, with around 70 students per class. The school's schedule is a masterpiece of time management, or some might say, a nightmare. Students have every minute of their 24-hour day meticulously planned out. Aside from a little over 7 hours of sleep, their day is packed from 5:30 a.m. to 10:10 p.m., without a moment to spare. The daily routine starts early. At 5:30 a.m., the wake-up bell rings, jolting students out of bed. There's no time to stretch or slowly wake up. They must quickly wash up, make their beds, and be ready on the playground in just 10 minutes. During the brief 5-minute wait to line up, each student brings a Chinese or English book and reads aloud. This unique tradition is said to be a hallmark of Hengshui High School. The day kicks off with a morning run, a tradition the school takes great pride in. Students run laps around the track in organized formations by class. The school believes this routine is more than just exercise. It's a way to build team spirit, boost morale, and cultivate a fighting spirit. After 15 minutes of running, it's straight to the classroom for morning reading, with content assigned down to the minute by teachers the day before. When morning reading ends, it's a mad dash to the cafeteria. With 6,000 students, the school has to stagger meal times by grade. Each student gets less than 20 minutes to eat. Talking is prohibited, and once they're done, they head straight back to the classroom for more studying. During this time, students can choose what to study, but if they're caught doing anything unrelated to their courses, like drawing or writing notes not related to classwork, the high-definition cameras in the classroom will catch them. If they're caught, they're placed on a disciplinary list. The academic day officially begins at 7:45 a.m. with the first class. There are 5 classes in the morning, each lasting 40 minutes, with a 10-minute break between classes. However, teachers often extend classes, and the next class must be ready 2 minutes early, leaving students with less than 10 minutes of actual break time. Most students don't even get out of their seats, except to go to the bathroom. Lunch follows at noon, with students eating in shifts by grade. Some schools that follow the Hengshui High School model have gone so far as to remove chairs from the dining area, forcing students to stand while they eat, believing this to be more efficient. For seniors preparing for the all-important college entrance exam, every minute counts. The school requires students waiting to eat to read aloud in the cafeteria. By 12:40 p.m., all students must leave the cafeteria and return to their dormitories immediately. By 12:43 p.m., they must be inside, and by 12:45 p.m., they must be lying down for a nap. Even if they can't fall asleep, they must lie quietly with their eyes closed. Reading, eating, and doing homework are forbidden. Moving, going to the bathroom, and talking to classmates are also not allowed. If caught by a patrolling teacher, they'll be publicly criticized for breaking school rules. At 1:50 p.m., all students must be in their classrooms to begin the daily song before class, where everyone sings an inspirational song together. Afternoon classes begin at 2:05 p.m. sharp, and also last for 5 periods. Since afternoon classes can make students sleepy, they all carry peppermint essential oil and apply it to their temples whenever they feel drowsy. The pace of the class is fast, and students are expected to stay focused throughout. After dinner, students return to the classroom to watch news programs prepared in advance by the school. Besides the classroom newspaper stands, this is their only source of news from the outside world, because cell phone use is strictly forbidden. Even if students sneak phones in, they can't charge them without getting caught. Teachers are also forbidden from using phones during working hours. The evening study period starts at 7:15 p.m. There are 3 sessions of 45 minutes each, where students study independently in the classroom. The first 2 sessions focus on subjects assigned by teachers, while the third is for self-directed study. However, teachers supervise and sometimes tutor students during these sessions. Self-study ends at 9:50 p.m. sharp. All students must leave the classroom immediately, return to their dormitories quickly, and wash up. At 10 p.m., the lights go out in the classrooms, and by 10:10 p.m., students must be in bed, lying down. No talking is allowed after lights out, and any violation will result in punishment. From waking up at 5:30 a.m. to going to bed at 10:10 p.m., a day in the life of a Hengshui High School student is relentless, only to repeat the same schedule the next day. On average, students study more than 10 hours a day. They have a break only once every 2 weeks, each lasting no longer than 2 days. Winter and summer vacations are each no longer than 2 weeks. Exams are held every weekend and at the end of each month. For students who don't manage their time well, it can be up to half a month before they have time to shower. Despite the grueling schedule, Hengshui High School is considered one of the most successful high schools in China. In 2023, it ranked second in China's college entrance examination, with a 99.5% acceptance rate into China's top universities. Nearly 100% of Hengshui High School graduates go on to college, and 99.5% are accepted into first-tier universities. Would you be willing to send your child to this high school for 3 years if it meant they could get into a prestigious university? Chinese universities can be divided into 3 categories. The first category includes universities heavily supported by the Chinese government and key universities in each province. These institutions have excellent educational resources and reputations, and their admission scores are the highest. The second category includes provincial and regular public universities. The third category mainly consists of independent colleges of public universities, or private universities, which have lower admission scores and higher tuition fees than the second category. If students do not meet the undergraduate score threshold, they can only apply to vocational colleges. In 2024, the number of students registered for the National College Entrance Exam in China reached 13.42 million, an increase of 510,000 from the previous year. As one of China's most populous provinces, Hebei has about 700,000 students taking the college entrance exam each year. In 2023, the acceptance rate of first-category universities in Hebei was about 12%, and 99.5% of Hengshui High School students were among them. Judging from these results, Hengshui High School is undeniably successful. While the 3 years at Hengshui High School are incredibly challenging, many students are grateful, because getting into a prestigious university provides them with more and better future opportunities. The success of the Hengshui High School model has inspired many other schools and parents. Numerous schools have begun to imitate this militarized boarding school model, with Hengshui No. 2 High School being the most enthusiastic. According to online reports, Hengshui No. 2 High School's procedures are even stricter than those at Hengshui High School.
感谢国家，感谢父母，感谢老师，感谢同学，不公你呀，一分不好，全家的兄弟，后边的兄弟，一根两草，一。
There are many posts online about studying at Hengshui High School, emphasizing that efficiency is more important than effort. These posts provide tips on managing time effectively, strictly following schedules, and requiring parental supervision to ensure children read valuable books and make the most of every minute. The enormous pressure has made it difficult for some students to adapt. You can't have your own personality here. All you can do is obey the teachers, study what they teach, read books related to exams, and do endless drills. Romantic relationships between boys and girls are strictly forbidden, and even going beyond normal interactions can be considered a violation. Some students, unable to keep up with the pace, become self-deprecating and depressed. Some have to choose between dropping out or transferring to another school halfway through, but some don't want to tell their parents, or even if they do, they are not allowed to drop out. This desperation leads some students to take extreme measures. Between October 2014 and March 2015, Hengshui No. 2 High School had 2 incidents of senior students jumping off buildings. In response, the school installed iron bars on all classroom and dormitory windows, making students feel like prisoners in jail. Parents, however, understood the school's actions, saying it was for the students' safety. Hengshui High School and many other schools that emulate it have achieved impressive acceptance rates, bringing good reputations and benefits to the schools. However, this model has also sparked considerable controversy in society. Hengshui High School was founded in 1951 as a regular high school in a small town with a struggling economy. It truly began to transform into a college entrance exam factory in 1992, when a capable new principal, Li Jinqi, took over. Externally, he secured financial support from the local government. Internally, he introduced a closed, militarized management style for students and corporate-style performance evaluations for teachers. Students' schedules were planned down to the minute, and teachers were evaluated based on detailed criteria and students' specific test scores. By 2002, Hengshui High School's college entrance exam pass rate exceeded 98%, setting a record among all high schools in China. The school became a super high school and gained national fame. As a result, the school attracted more quality students from the local area and beyond. During holidays, thousands of parents came to pick up their children, forming long lines of cars. The success of this super school sparked a nationwide trend of schools trying to emulate the Hengshui High School model. Over the years, hundreds of thousands of educators from all over the country have flocked to Hengshui High School to observe. During peak times, all the hotels in the city are full, sometimes forcing people to stay in nearby towns. This high school has significantly boosted the economy and consumption of the entire city of Hengshui. In March 2004, the original principal of Hengshui High School was promoted to the director of the Hengshui Municipal Education Bureau, and Zhang Wenmao became the new principal. The school received the best educational resources and financial support from Hebei Province. Hengshui High School began to attract excellent teachers by offering higher salaries and benefits than other schools in the province. In 2020, the salary range for teachers hired was 70,000 to 300,000 RMB per year, about $10,000 to $44,000. The school also provided housing, allowances, and various other benefits. Teachers could also earn substantial bonuses based on their students' college entrance exam scores. While this approach further solidified Hengshui High School's high acceptance rate, it also led to a severe polarization of educational resources in Hebei Province. Hengshui High School attracted the best local students and used high tuition fees to keep out the poor. As a result, Students from poor families with less impressive academic records could only attend second-tier schools and get the leftovers from Hengshui High School. Hengshui High School was once a way for poor kids to change their fate, but since 2013, its success has become a nightmare for them due to its high tuition fees and strict admission requirements. In 2021, the published tuition for Hengshui High School was 9,360 RMB per semester, 18,720 RMB per year, or about $2,900, higher than the tuition at many universities. Room and board were charged separately, making it unaffordable for many families. For repeat students, the tuition was even higher. Depending on their scores, tuition was 25,000 RMB, or 35,000 RMB per year, about $3,800, or $5,400. However, if a student scored above 630, they only had to pay 2,000 RMB, about $310, because students with that score were very likely to be admitted to top Chinese universities. The profits generated by Hengshui High School made the administrators increasingly greedy and profit-driven. In 2013, they partnered with Hebei Taihua Jinye Real Estate Company to establish Hengshui No. 1 High School, a private school that serves as another campus of Hengshui High School. They started nationwide enrollment and indirectly promoted housing in the nearby school district. As a public school, it could only enroll students from the local area, but the new private school could recruit students nationwide without regional restrictions. Hengshui High School successfully replicated its model and began to turn education into a capital game. Following the same model, Hengshui High School has opened dozens of high schools in several provinces in China, such as Yunnan, Sichuan, Guangdong, and Zhejiang, and even one in Malaysia. On March 11, 2021, China First High School Education Group, which had worked closely with Hengshui High School and continuously helped it open branches, was officially listed on the New York Stock Exchange, not in China. 3 years later, the stock price dropped from the initial $9 to $0.08. The National College Entrance Exam, or Gaokao, is the college entrance exam in mainland China that began in 1950. It was suspended for 10 years during the Cultural Revolution and officially resumed in 1977. It has been in existence for 47 years. In 1977, 5.7 million students registered for the exam, with 273,000 admissions, an acceptance rate of less than 5%. This year, 4.5 million students were admitted, with an acceptance rate of 33%. The college entrance exam has played an important role in China's test-driven education system, providing a relatively fair selection of talent over the past few decades and helping many rural children change their fate. However, the Hengshui High School model has spread across China, undermining educational equity by excluding poor students through high tuition fees. While it has created a virtuous circle for itself, it has severely disrupted the local educational ecosystem, causing many other ordinary high schools to collapse and their educational quality to plummet. Originally, these ordinary high schools had relatively balanced sources of students, but now, with more underperforming students, many believe they can't get into college, leading to a lack of motivation to study, and teachers losing interest in teaching, resulting in a vicious cycle. It has not only failed to change the fate of the poor, but has also made it increasingly difficult for them to rise. A research report by Peking University in 2021 shows that in 2014, only 2.1% of rural students from super high schools were admitted to Peking University, while 17.6% of rural students from other ordinary high schools were admitted. Overall, the proportion of rural students admitted to first-tier universities is one-third that of urban students. The Hengshui High School model has led to endless involution throughout China, dragging countless students into massive feudal competition. Students are required to learn textbook content without developing independent thinking or creativity. Parents provide constant financial support, and teachers operate like workers on an assembly line. Students in urban areas who didn't attend super high schools are not much better off. These students are assigned a large number of remedial classes and endless practice tests, and their parents spend tens of thousands of dollars each semester on tutoring. The longer the study period and the more money spent on remedial classes, the higher the admission rate, which results in more people in need being denied access to higher education. This further reinforces social inequality and class immobility. This involution in China can be explained by the example of watching a movie in a theater. At first, everyone sits comfortably, but when the people in the front row stand up, those behind are forced to stand to see, and some even have to jump to get a view, upsetting the original balance and forcing everyone into frenzied competition. This kind of intense, brainwashing, cramming education has nearly stifled a generation's ability to think and create, even causing many young students who can't adapt to end their own lives. Many middle-class and wealthier families, unwilling to let their children compete in this environment, or believing their children can't compete, choose to send them abroad for education. The wealthier families send them to the United States, Canada, or Australia, while those with less money may send them to international schools in Thailand. Ironically, once these children obtain foreign citizenship, they can apply to the top 10 universities in China without taking the exam and gain admission. They only need to know 2,500 Chinese characters to apply, with a relatively high acceptance rate. Meanwhile, children in mainland China who study 10 hours a day often find it difficult to get into these universities. The distribution of social resources hasn't really changed, but people in China feel increasingly exhausted. This intense competition isn't limited to high school students. In many places, it begins in elementary school. Parents who want to get their children into good elementary schools often have to buy expensive houses well in advance in certain school districts. Children as young as 6 or 7 are given a substantial amount of homework by their teachers when they enter first grade. Many parents end up staying up with their children until 10 p.m. or even later to help them complete their assignments. Teachers often communicate homework assignments to parents through group chats, and if a child fails to complete homework, the parent may be publicly criticized in the group. This pressure forces parents to spend even more time and energy tutoring their children. Children under the age of 10 often have difficulty concentrating and adapting to the rigid, rote learning style of Chinese education, repeatedly making mistakes on a single word or math problem. This situation leaves many parents feeling completely overwhelmed. In some extreme cases, mothers in their 30s have even suffered brain hemorrhages and required emergency treatment due to stress.
你看这儿不要看我几个果冻，你看这是几个啦？再数。几个果冻？几个？数。你数完的2个就是2个，知道吧？那这是几个？再数。1、2。那几个？8个。8个啊啊！这不就4个吗？啊？这1、2、3、4，这不就4个吗？啊？
你这后面就是那样，你写了长的，左边有了，右边有了，长加起来就是长了呀。你脑子为什么想的这么复杂嘛？
一桶油多少钱？1桶油54块钱，那我买2桶油多少钱？108。我买2桶油108，现在买2赠1，那我买这2桶油，他是不是又送我1桶油？那一共我这3桶油花多少钱？我问你这3桶油一共花多少钱？你别给我出，我问你这3桶油一共花多少钱？1桶油54，买2桶108，对不对？现在超市搞活动，2桶买2赠1，那我108，我买了几桶油？108买了2桶。
不做了，真的不要做了，都不要做了。明天我把你老师统统拉黑，
你知道什么样吗？我连晚上做梦的时候，我都梦见你老师站我床前站了一圈，都跟我要作业，连体育老师都来了。
看题，你别看我，看题。你妈妈身高1.6什么？毫米。合同条写的都够不到你脖子根儿啊！
This high-pressure approach to learning and communication strains the relationship between parents and their children, making it increasingly tense. While parents in the city are busy helping their children with homework, many parents of rural children work hard in the cities, resulting in their children becoming left-behind children. Unfortunately, as the economy declines, prices rise, and unemployment rises, especially among college graduates. Many graduates of prestigious schools cannot find jobs, not to mention graduates of ordinary universities. This has led to unemployed people becoming rideshare drivers and unemployed college graduates delivering food. These children, who have lost their easy and happy childhood and teenage years, have worked so hard for so many years, only to face unemployment after graduation, which is truly regrettable. In China, education, like healthcare and mortgages, has become a huge burden for many families. In the past decade or so, a style of English handwriting called Hengshui style has become popular in many schools. This style was developed to meet the needs of the Chinese examination system. It's clean and clear, and its biggest advantage is that it makes teachers who have to grade thousands of papers feel a little better about themselves, which can lead to higher scores, especially on essay questions. I'm not sure if this handwriting style is a trademark of Hengshui High School, but they have perfected its use. Because of this, many schools have started to follow suit, and some teachers even require elementary school students to practice it specifically. There are also many books and video tutorials on the internet on how to learn Hengshui style. This approach, which stifles children's creativity, further emphasizes that Chinese children learn English not to communicate, but to pass exams. What do you think about this writing style? Do you think it's worthwhile for children to spend time practicing it? Today's story is not about a specific crime, but a social event and reality. It's a big topic, and I may have only scratched the surface. Feel free to add your thoughts and discussions. I hope you enjoyed this topic. What do you think about this case? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more crime stories, please like and subscribe to my channel.